All right, folks, I'm going to try to make a quick little video here showing how I ended up with all of this from a little idea that happened to me. I was in a stairwell and the elevator was out at a hotel, and this lady was staring down at her phone and ran into me, almost knocked me down the stairs. And started thinking about how people stare at their screens a lot, and had a long drive home. And on the drive home, I was remembering a picture I had, and I found it of my daughter when she was very little, staring at my grandma's screen at some birds in the trees, and I think there were some cats on the step. And and the words I jotted down, it ended up not quite being the song, but purpose of this video is to show how I forced myself to use some products that you don't really have to be a musician or play an instrument to be able to make a demo. So here's how that came about. So I had wrote down a few of these words, how screens have changed. Have you ever stopped to wonder why we never fought like we're fighting now? Screens weren't in every hand, that made it into the song. But on windows and doors, that made it into the song. And when we used to look through them in nature, skies, etc., how screens have changed. So you get the idea. So I took all of these and I had some chords and I ran it in the Suno, I don't know, about 15, 20 times trying to find a version that I kind of really liked. And here's what I ended up with. This version, I put a little bit of it.
Kids were sunk in the couch, their faces lit up blue, getting mad from videos that probably ain't true.
You get the idea. I'll skip forward to a chorus or something.
Looking down, missing things with screens, and life unplugged was full of big and wild dreams. There were no filters between us and the way the world was seen. Instead of looking down, missing things, we looked up and out of screens.
So I played that for some friends on my one of my regular NSAI, Nashville Songwriter Association International meetings, and they all loved it. And I decided I'd have to go through and make my own version with no AI. And like I said, I wanted to try to do it without using any instruments. The only thing similar to an instrument I used was Easy Drummer, and that's kind of how I started this. So then I went and let's see, I gotta pick this first. So there's quite a lag. You don't have to be a good musician, you see. Should be there. There we go. Nope, there we go. So what you can do in Easy Drummer is then find all these patterns that match what you just played. So then you can build out your song like this, like I did. So starting in here, see, I organized by parts. So I had the intro, and then for the verses I did a little different. Wasn't nothing really on this first verse, just some shaker to go along, and then a little bit more pre-chorus to get more complex, and then chorus full bore. So basically all I did was drag different parts from a song structure in here that you can get with Easy Drummer. Anyway, it's not an Easy Drummer video. So going back to what I did after that, probably Well, you can change the tempo to anything you want in Easy Drummer, but what I did first was I pulled in that export from Suno, and so I had it in here as a track. So I'll play a little bit of that.
Sunk in the couch,
It sounds
the
familiar.
face is lit up blue. Something that I feel. Dreams we had growing up.
So you ask yourself, so Thomas, how'd you get all these parts? Well, I went through and organized the arrangement track, verse, pre-chorus, intro, and all the chords. What I did for the chords was I'm using Studio Pro from Fender. It used to be Persona Studio One, but Studio Pro from Fender. And the reason for that is they let this new tool I use, Tonalic from Celemony, run in full-on ARA. I'll show you that in a second here. So, but what I did was in here you can right click. You can literally right click on a track and have it detect tempo, detect chords, uh, extract it, separate it into stems, etc. So that's what I did. I separated it into stems, and then once you detect chords, you can drag that up here to a chord track, which makes anything in here that can follow that chord track and the tempo play along to that. So let me close this. And so then I had my drums, basic drums here, going on, like I just showed you.
Something I feel.
That's bass. There's a drum. So what's really beautiful about Tonalic is it shows up in here as its own tab in Studio Pro, which as far as I know, it's the only DAW that it does that for. But so once you're in here, you can tell it, you can drag part of that drum beat and tell it to follow that, and it'll follow it or follow the metronome. I didn't have it on, but it turned the metronome on. You know what a metronome is, so.
That I need to sounding more.
Hear the metronome going on there. So then I went and built these parts out. And if you don't have this ARA functionality, what you have to do is create another instrument like this, and then you got to go build it in Tonalic. Let me pull one in just to show you. So if we go here, instrument, yeah, so it'll pop up here. And if I added Tonalic here as an instrument under Celemony Tonalic, so if I had it in here as an instrument, see, you have to go and write out your chords in here. Make that a B flat, make this A, etc., and then it'll follow that. But it's much easier to do it with this tab here since it's an ARA. So let me delete this here. Remove track and instrument. So once I had that going, I had all the stems, and when I'm saying stems, each part separated, and they work along with the drums. See how tight the drums were? That's the drums from the Suno, and this is the Easy Drummer. This was the bass from Suno. This one was called Other. I'm not sure what this was. It's not playing. Got it muted. And then the Suno.
Our dreams, there were no filters between us and the way.
This must have been the guitar. Event. Let me see how. Event. Mute. It won't let me unmute it. Nope. Oh, anyway, you get the idea. So that's the guitar type track. Not sure why it's muted. Oh well. I might have to do actually unmute. Let me see. Event. Unmute events. There you go. So now you can see this was
something that I feel I need to say I know.
Oh, that was a vocal.
Through the screens
Oh, that's the whole song.
we'd watch for passing cars.
I guess I deleted the guitar part. There was a separate track for the guitar. It must have deleted it. Oh, not important. Oh, there it is. Hear all that little weirdness? That's what you get from Suno stems.
That rock.
So anyway, so taking all of that, I made my drums as you heard, and then I opened up in Tonalic. It shows up, and I picked Larry Paxton from the list of musicians, and following that beat, it had this little pattern here. And then you just basically just drag it up in there. Drag it up in there to make a part, like if I wanted it here. And then there it is. So it's in the song. There's no bass in that verse, so that's why I showed it right there. And I did the same thing for some acoustic guitar. Let me scroll up so I can make this bigger. So I had Uwe Bossert had an acoustic part that I liked. And what it does is it follows these chords. So as the chords change, it changes what it's playing. You don't have to go through and write it all if you already have it in here. So between the bass and the drums, you got this. Let's see if I can. I'll just play a little bit of the verse on loop. So I did the same thing. Said, get another acoustic guitar. This one's playing more of a strum, pause, strum kind of thing. Brian Sutton. If it sounds like a great guitar, it's a Martin D28 from 1948, and they say who recorded it and everything. So these guys all get credit for all of this stuff. And then I did another acoustic with Brian, a little bit different pattern, just kind of a strum down on the ones. So when you play that one, it follows. Let's see. Back to the see. Beautiful, isn't it? So when you combine that, and I actually had 3 acoustics. What was the other one was doing that this other part. And this one was doing this. So when you combine all 3 of those parts, kill the drums, and it's going to be a long video. I'm going to hurry up here. So I have 3 guitars going. And then I thought I'd add a little, found a guitar lick I liked, also from Uwe, a little kind of signature lick kind of thing. And then it follows the beat, of course, and the chords. So what that sounds like without the acoustics would be. Of course, I added some reverb and delay. So if I go up and do the whole band, I did a little ba-doom count in kind of thing. So do the whole band. Here's what you get for this little intro part. I didn't unmute the drums. There we go. Not so low. Unmute. There we go. Why did it play? I had something so low, huh? Let me close this for a second. I can see what's going on here. Where's my drums? Oh, it's not following. Pause this thing here. Okay, so I figured out there was a weird thing going on with the mute, but got that figured out. So now here's what the intro sounds like. And then I went through and added some of my own vocals and give you an idea what that kind of sounds like with that. And then I'll kind of just skip through the highlights on what I added to it. So get some vocals in.
Kids are sunk in the couch, their faces lit blue, getting mad from videos that probably ain't true. I said there's some.
Right, you get the idea. And then over here on this chorus, what I like to do, just a side note, is separate my tracks. I recorded all the vocals for the verses because that's one setting and where you are in proximity to the mic. So I did all the verses first, and then I did the pre-choruses, and then lastly I did the choruses, and then made the whole song together. So and then here I added a couple of other electric guitars because I wanted to hear some sounds. Something like that for that part. Thank you, Mr. Tim Pierce. And this was also Tim Pierce, but a different part. I just wanted some of that. So when you put those in the song, you get this kind of sound here. Let me give you some of that. Play just those. When you add back in the drums, bass, acoustics, you get all kind of nice sounds. Pretty amazing for not even playing an instrument on this recording yet, huh? Or at all, I didn't. So put the whole thing together. You get I'll let it play through. I guess I'll let you hear some of the pre-chorus through a chorus, and then I'll wrap this video up. Oh, I'll show a little bit about the end. So here we go. I'll let you hear a little bit of this. I'll be quiet.
Through the screens we had growing up, we'd look out at our farm and fall asleep in a breeze while counting shooting stars. When windows and porches were the only things with screens, life unplugged was full of big and wild dreams. No filters between us and the way the world was seen. Instead of looking down, we looked up out of screens. Through the
So you get the idea. Only couple of other things I had to do was at the endings. I had to go and find some fun ways to end it. Some patterns on the very end. For example, had to find guitar to have endings and transitions and patterns. Fills, some of these tonalics. See, that one's just hitting the guitar. Same thing here. A little bit different hit. Acoustic. That's not acoustic. That's another. It's a dirty guitar. Here's acoustic ending. And then here's I did a bunch of acoustic endings. See how it's playing in a little bit different form. And the bass just held a big long note. So that when you put all that together, is this one I played? Yeah, I played this one already. This was the other lick in the ending. I played that again. I'm gonna leave this up. Wherever you're at in the chord track down here, it'll show that chord. So if you want to hear what that sounds like in F, so see how it changed to G minor 7? So I'll let this play out to the ending and we'll wrap this video up because that's how I did this whole song. I'm gonna leave this up so you can see the chords changing and you'll see the pattern change when it gets to the end. It'll switch. So here we go.
look up and not of screens.
Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it helped. That's the most important thing. Have a good one.